It's toast, Maggie.
I can see that. Must have taken you ages. It's buttered and all. Well done.
Well, feel free to make yourself a full English.
Irish.
You can't tell me, son. I was there first time round. Great days they were. Have you heard this? Lad's an expert on Oasis now.
If I remember correctly, you liked the other lot.
Oh.
Blue?
Boyzone.
Thanks for that, Ma.
Nice.
Boy, what? Just never you mind, son.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
Hello and welcome to episode 402 of The Talk of the Street, an unofficial Coronation Street catch-up podcast that was amazed that this week was the week that the show chose to remember Tim's grooming. Now can we finally find out what happened with Sinead's beard oil business? I'm Gavin.
And I have risen. I have risen indeed.
Have you? You got up. You finally got up.
I did. I'm being blasphemous at the moment. Because, Sunday's Easter.
Easter than what?
The holiday.
More east than...
No. Easter.
Now who's
not
being
Eastern.
blasphemous?
How are you?
I'm alright.
That's good.
Had the day off today.
Yeah, I did not.
It's Good Friday.
I could have
Had
chosen.
the day off. It's the best Friday.
It's so good.
And I'm off on Monday as well.
Ooh, look at you, all fancy pants.
I chose to take the Monday after any federal holiday off to burn through my PTO that
You've got a lot of it.
got 9 weeks of it.
You got more
Nine
of
and
it.
a half weeks of it.
You got more of it than anybody else who works in your company.
Probably at least the same amount as some other people who've maybe been in fortunate situations such as I. Can't be many.
Yeah, I don't recall any other expats.
There's a few.
Are there? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
There's an English guy that works in my department and he basically avoids me.
That's just like the English, isn't it?
That's what I was going to say. Those blasted English. He was enjoying being the interesting foreigner. And then when he realised that there was another interesting foreigner.
Who'd been there for like a decade longer than him.
Yeah. I think maybe it pissed in his sugar puffs a little bit.
Oh, well, then he should have done his research better.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Busy working.
You were not off today.
No, I could have probably taken today off, but there's so much to do, and I like my job, and I wouldn't have gotten paid. So,
Right.
you get paid days off. I do not.
I do. It is glorious.
Yeah. I haven't had a paid day off since I left public employment in the library many years ago.
9.5 weeks paid vacation time.
Yeah. I never
That's
got
2 free months.
Yeah.
I could take the whole of November and December off.
Yeah.
I won't, but I could.
Yeah. It would probably piss a lot of people off if you did that.
I piss everybody off every time vacations come up because I invariably mention it.
Yeah.
People would be disappointed if I didn't.
That's true.
Anyway, shall we preamble, my dear?
Yes, please.
Give us some of that blasphemous Corrie news.
It's funny that you mentioned Sinead. Katie McGlynn, the former Sinead, has decided to give romance with former EastEnder Max Bowden another go. They were initially in a romantic relationship towards the beginning of last year. I think they were doing a show together. And they were together for a little while. And then the paparazzi snapped pictures of him peeing against a wall while she looked on. And it became embarrassing. And they decided to break up and just be friends. And now they've decided to give it another go. And he's...
This time, she's peeing up against the wall. That's a strange thing to
I'm sure
get
there
upset
were...
about. There must have been something else going on.
I'm sure there were other things going on. But apparently, the sort of unkindness of strangers talking about that picture and writing about that picture and mocking them for that picture and everything did cause a strain. As it would. I think if people snapped a picture of you peeing against a wall, it would cause a strain.
Would it?
Maybe. Be embarrassing.
Would it?
Yeah, I think so.
Depends if the angle's flattering or not.
Medalla, with you, all angles are flattering.
I'll long for the days where I could pee up against a wall. Old age doesn't come itself.
No. Corrie has seen a surge in viewership recently due to the new Power Hour formatting and new viewers after Corriedale, probably. Yeah, apparently the whole, shorter episodes, more episodic episodes you can meme more easily, have caused an upsurge in viewership and people being able to pay attention to storylines better, apparently. So good for them. That keeps us employed.
Right.
Not that anyone's paying us to do this.
Au contraire.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Our friends of the podcast are paying us to do this.
And YouTube advertisers.
That's true, yes.
London has now garnered more than $50 off ad revenue.
Wow, I need to make that t-shirt.
Yeah, you won't, but
I'll get to it
you won't.
eventually. I'll put it on a list and that'll help me remember. Maybe. And finally, plots unite for Helen Worth's An Evening With episode, with the exception of Ben Price, who was stuck on the motorway. Crying, probably.
And walking lightly.
Oh, no, he's stuck in his car, so he's not walking
Yeah,
anywhere.
I know, Helen, I know.
But he is crying. And that's Corrie News.
Your last item is basically Ben Price was stuck in traffic.
Yeah, but everybody else showed up, and that was nice. Well, not everybody else. It was Jack P. Shepard and Shona
Julia Golding,
and Sarah.
Tina O'Brien.
Yeah. So it wasn't all the Platts, because Bethany didn't show up, or Max, or...
Oh, Max is in jail. Not a lot going on in the Corrie News.
No, it was really hard. It was really hard to do Corrie News this week. Like, the Google alerts were terrible.
Well, you covered it well.
Thank you.
We will move on from the barren wastelands of Corrie News onto the blossoming oasis that is the feedback section that I like to call Everyone's a Critic. Cheeky writes, "Hi Gavin and Helen." That's us. You alright?
Yeah, my nose is itchy.
First off, George's speech to Todd on Monday absolutely floored me. Seeing George standing there with the packed bag, trying to reach Todd and pull him away from Theo was one of the most quietly powerful scenes of the week. I have to say, I really appreciated what it did with Daniel this week as well, watching him finally realise and actually say out loud that most of his disasters with women were his own doing.
Yes.
Was long overdue. But when he broke it all down, Bethany, Daisy, even the sex worker eventually befriended, it was like watching the character finally confront the pattern instead of blaming circumstance.
And then, he fucked it up with the whole...
Well, yeah. Daniel has spent years intellectualising everything and avoiding the obvious truth about himself, so seeing him genuinely humble himself for once felt like the character development rather than another temporary wobble. And honestly, I'm going to say it flat out, Maggie's handling of Will might be one of the worst parental decisions we've seen in a long time, forcing him to tell the truth simply because he's a young lad who needs to learn, completely misses the reality of the situation. Yes, Will has a lot of maturing to do. He's a teenager who made a mess of a situation he wasn't emotionally equipped to handle, but pushing him into publicly admitting that he had an inappropriate relationship with his teacher feels deeply misguided. For the first time since this storyline began, it just felt wrong and strangely tone-deaf given the seriousness of the situation. Yeah, I think there is a "oh fuck off Maggie" coming up in all of our futures.
One or two.
In about an hour's time. And Jen writes, "Hi, Sam was on ADHD drugs to focus and stay awake, leading into his paranoia, which is growing. Mal is fucking awesome. He's absolutely batshit. I think there must be something else that we have no knowledge of yet with this story. Cannot wait for Megan to get what's coming. Also hope Carl gets some redemption and kills Theo. That would make me happy. But then get away with it, because I'm quite liking him now, providing he leaves Debbie to recover from dementia and not leave. Love you too, by the way." Oh, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Then Shandy writes, "I'm always a few episodes behind as we have a 3-week-ish delay in Canada. I'm also in Edmonton, like new friend of the podcast, Cameron. But I'm from Calgary originally. We'll send some tension there."
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Shandy. Jenny Roll writes, on spoilers, the intro sounds like Zippy Metal Mickey. I think that's a compliment.
I don't know. What does Zippy Metal Mickey sound like?
Zippy's from Rainbow.
Me? Yeah, I'm a friend. I'm your friend, Bongo.
Metal Mickey. That's Metal Mickey. The burger.
He wants to boogie.
I think if you imagine Metal Mickey saying spoiler alert, you can hear it. Yeah, I think that probably works. And Una writes, wishing you both a happy Easter.
Thank you.
Thank you as ever for the excellent episodes of the podcast over the last month. You might remember that I've watched Corrie for as long as I can remember, but that I stopped watching around Easter last year because I was just so very fed up with my once favourite show. Over the last 12 months, I've dipped in a few times and watched a handful of episodes, but I found them all pretty boring, even Corrie deals, to be honest.
Ooh.
But I kept up to date with the storylines through your fantastic podcast.
Oh,
and that's
thank
us.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
not
you.
an exaggeration to say that Coronation Street has always been a core part of my life. Watching the episodes was my way to switch off and relax and reminded me of home as a Mancunian born and bred but no longer living there. I was so very pleased to say that over the last 2 weeks I found Corrie again. I watched the week where Eva, Leanne and Toya clocked what Megan was up to, and I loved it. And I've watched every episode since. And even better, I've looked forward to watching every episode. I've even enjoyed Maggie. For me, the show has been brilliant over the last few weeks because it successfully combined new and old characters working together on decent, interesting and engaging storylines. The only bit I didn't really enjoy is Kirk. Oh, poor Kirk. And his hopping on one leg, walking backwards shenanigans. But I'll let them off. I truly hope Corrie has found its spark again and the quality of the last few weeks' episodes long continues. In the meantime, we are going to France for the Easter break on the Eurostar, and then after that, I'm off to New York for work for a week. So it's likely I'll be listening to your next podcast episode while travelling, either above or below a large body of water. Thanks to you both, as ever, for your hard work and dedication to the podcast, and to all your very grateful listeners, from a forever friend of the podcast.
Oh, that's
Isn't that
lovely.
Thank you very much, Una. And thank you to Una, to Jenny, to Shandy, and to Jen, and to Cheeky for their correspondence this week.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Feedback's always welcome. Send us your thoughts and I'll probably read them out. Get us at thetalkofthestreet@gmail.com, or DMs are open at Corrie Podcast. And we love it when people write actual letters to us. Send us your proper mail to The Talk of the Street, P.O. Box 12, Eaton Rapids, Michigan, 48827. Please note that we reserve the right to edit feedback, but only in the interest of brevity. And you can find all these details in the description of this episode. And now
Yes.
we'll podcast for coffee.
Woo!
Thank you to French Helen for our coffees this week.
Oh, thank you, French Helen. Or merci.
So what? Merci is French for...
Thank you.
Wow.
Merci beaucoup.
Oh, slow down.
Thank you very much. Teasing me about my terrible French.
Here.
Your French is so much better than mine.
I've got higher French.
Yeah.
I've forgotten most of it. Comes back to you when you're in France, so it does,
Well, we haven't
does
been
stay
in.
with you.
When was the last time you were in France?
2001?
Yeah. So,
A quarter of a century ago.
yes. Time to go back. Let's go back.
Is that what you want to do for your 50th?
Oh, God. Is it a safe time to leave the country, do you think?
Is any time a safe time to leave the country?
No.
Okay.
No.
Fr-
No. No time is a safe time to leave the
Oh,
country.
okay.
I mean, Stelly's going to Europe basically like a month beforehand, so
That sways you one way or the other?
not really.
Not really. French Helen writes, Profitez de votre café, which is
Something coffee.
enjoy your coffees,
Oh,
I think. Thank you very much, French Helen.
Yeah.
I am drinking my SodaStream cherry flavoured Pepsi.
cherry flavored Pepsi.
Is it cherry Pepsi? Cherry Pepsi. Wild cherry Pepsi.
Yes.
What about you?
Pink grapefruit juice.
Thanks very much, French Helen. It's much appreciated. The
Yes.
Talk of the Street is and will always be free on your podcast provider and on the YouTube. So if you think a show is worth anything more than the time it takes to listen to it, and if you want to show your appreciation or if you want more weekly, monthly content, check out the links in the episode description or head over to corriepodcast.com, click on the support the pod, and then friend of the podcast link. For $2 a month, you can get access to our weekly spoiler show, the Talk of the Street Spoiler Alert, and our monthly classic Corrie show, the Talk of the Street Classics. For April, we're talked about episodes 2304 and 2305 from May the 2nd and 4th, 1983, Bet and Betty Stuck in a Lake. And if that wasn't enough, you also get access to our Discord server, a shout out at the end of every podcast and your name on the credits of the flagship show. If you prefer something a little less formal, you can also buy us next week's coffee by clicking Buy Us a Coffee. And remember, you can always support the podcast for free. Get us in front of new listeners by liking, subscribing, rating and reviewing wherever you get your podcasts. Shall we dive in, my dear?
Yes, please.
Our first storyline this week is Theo No Sleeves. Now, we were led to believe that there'd be 6 episodes this week, and then there was an impromptu game of soccer ball on Tuesday night,
Yes.
and then there was no Corrie on Tuesday, but we had it on Sunday
Right. So it was a full week.
for the first time in quite some time, and I did enjoy watching it on the Sunday. I don't think you probably watched on Sunday, did you?
No.
It's nice having it on the Sunday. They should do that more often. Anyway, Theo No Sleeves. On Sunday, Theo is making sausages for Fat Boy Slim, while George, Summer, Christina, Glenda and Sarah are all comparing notes at the Undertaker's. They remember the time Theo disappeared after the Canal Street excursion, the coffee table getting broken, the door that was busted off the hinges, the blood in the flat, the time Theo was snippy with Christina when Theo broke a glass at Christmas and blames Todd. How could they be so blind? None of them ask. Then Todd comes in and they all scarper. George explains why everyone was there and Todd is fucking furious. He says he can explain every one of their so-called examples, but when George asks him about the time he was supposedly in London, Todd doesn't have an answer and insists he isn't a battered husband. Blanking back tears, George says, "No one said you were battered."
Oofed.
Yeah,
Oofed. That was oofed, wasn't it?
George was phenomenal this week.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is why last week I said we got to give moment of the week to Ryan this week.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got to hold off on George.
Are we blowing our chips this early on and declaring this our moment of the week?
Maybe. Or maybe it's another George moment. There were quite a few of them.
When he's blinking and the tears are building up in his eyes, it is just so believable.
You just want to give him a wee hug.
I know. Oh, so good. Sarah is at the furniture thing speaking to Gary, asking how Todd was at the registry office. And for some reason, Gary has forgotten that Todd was blindfolded. But then it slowly dawns on them that Todd wasn't really smiling properly through any of it. So he goes to the flat and sees Todd hanging around outside looking scared and invites himself up. In the flat, Theo barks at Todd for not cleaning the bathroom before Gary announces his presence. Todd makes tea, but Gary spots his nervousness. His bag's shaking.
Yeah.
Todd leaves them to it, and Gary thinks it's funny that Todd's hiding in the bedroom and mentions his shaking hands. Theo and Gary laugh it off, but it's clear that there's subtext here that they both notice, and it's Theo who blinks first. He asks if Gary's been speaking with George. Nope, says Gary, and then he throws Sarah under the bus. He reminds Theo what he did to Noah, who is now dead, and warns Theo that it had better not be true. Or what, says Theo. I'm on to you, you prick, says Gary. And so is everyone else.
And he also mentions the bullying of Liam.
Liam with his wee cheeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our Liam was bullied. I don't like bullies because our Liam was bullied. That was a nice throwback.
Yeah. So later when Todd comes out the bedroom, Theo has some exciting news. He's accepted that job in Belfast and wants to start in a couple of weeks. And there's plenty of dead people in Northern Ireland, and Todd will get a job no problem, especially with his stiffy.
Right, yes.
In Belfast, they can breathe again, away from all these nosy cunts. Let's do it, says Todd, who looks like he might be sick.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to blame Todd for any of this.
No.
But why is he agreeing to go to Belfast?
We're trying
because he's scared, because he's terrified.
Because he's scared, and he also doesn't want to admit what he's gotten himself into. You know, which is why he pushes back so hard on George and the others when they tried to help. Because there's a part of him that's like, no, this can't be me. even though he knows it's him.
Right. On Monday, George is like a hen in a hot girdle in Nina's rolls as Todd hasn't showed up for work. He speaks to Gary, and Gary takes control of the situation and suggests that they go do something about that, so they concoct a distraction plan. Gary invites Theo to the builder's yard, where he proceeds to throw all of Theo's tools out and calls Theo a fucking liar and a bully. And while this is going on, George goes to see Todd. George has packed an emergency bag for Todd
A go bag.
and tells him to use it if he needs to leave in a hurry. Todd gets a message that Theo's on his way back, so he quickly corrals George out the flat, but not before George hides the bag in a cupboard. He tells Todd that he loves him and he'll always be there for him. So later, Theo wants to know everything that George said about him. Todd is doing the ironing and is non-committal, but joins in when Theo starts mocking George. Theo says that he needs sorting out. Todd says it's not worth it, and Theo interprets this as Todd being on George's side. And Todd grabs the iron as he explains that it means he'll be leaving soon, so why get wound up about something or someone that they won't see again?
Right.
And this placates Theo. And you get the impression here that if Theo was to have said the wrong thing or gone for Todd, Todd would have punched him with the iron.
Interesting.
Why else would they have been grabbing onto the iron like that?
Well, to steady himself. Well, we've talked about his shaky hands and his fear. If he's holding on to something, it can kind of help him focus his fear and talk back a little bit.
It looked more like a defensive
Well,
motion, like hold on to it just in case he needs to use it, sort of thing.
Or it's just a defense against his anxieties and his fear.
On Wednesday, Alya and Adam are in Nina's rolls, working away in public on their laptops, maybe Googling how to put your personal data at risk on public Wi-Fi, and getting it tight from Maggie for representing Megan and from George and Christina. Christina casts up their data leak from the other week and thinks that they're not capable of securing data, never mind a verdict from a judge. Oh, we don't have to secure a verdict, says Adam mysteriously, and we find out later that this is because Damien, the son from the other week, is their winning card. George is hurt, saying that he always treated... Was it Annie? Was it Annie that Damien was related to?
No, Annie is the daughter who's suing.
So who's the dead woman then?
Mrs. Ripley.
Mrs. Ripley? Did she have a first name? Was it Mary?
I can't remember. And actually, her name may have been Mrs. Roper. It started with an R.
No, because Roper's Mal.
Oh, yes. So it's Ripley. Believe it or not.
Oh. Yes, it's funny. So George is hurt, saying that he always treated
Mrs. Ripley
with respect. Oh yes, says Damon, and how come she's dead? Adam quickly pulls
she died.
Adam quickly pulls Damien off
But not like that.
before George can say anything. Alya is uncomfortable about
Yes.
how all this is panning out.
Right. Now, a major disservice is done because we never get to hear Damien's testimony.
You want to talk about this right now?
I'm just saying, I don't understand why he is this great witness because
He didn't witness anything.
he didn't
For a
witness
start.
anything, and his mother died of natural causes. Nobody ever said that George murdered her.
No.
And no charges were put against George for murdering her. So what sort of testimony could he possibly give to make this a slam dunk case? And there's nothing, and that's why we don't get to hear it.
Corrie play fast and loose with the law and aspects of the law, and we know this and we accept it, but there really is nothing that Damien can say here that isn't just hearsay, because all that he's got is, my mum was worried about something.
And then she died.
And where is your mother to say this? Well, she can't say it herself because she's dead.
Right, yes.
So this is just...
And George
this
took
is
care of the
definition
funeral.
hearsay.
Yeah, they used George for the funeral. So why would he be upset about any of this?
There's more, but let's wait till we get to the court thing. So on Thursday, it's George's first day in court today, and some are assured that everything's going to go well. It's an open and shut case, which it absolutely should be. Even the surprise witness of Damien shouldn't make that much of a difference, although this is a civil case, so the burden of proof isn't reasonable doubt. It is, I think, balance of probabilities. Christina is sure their barrister is vicious enough to tear Adam Barlow a new one, Meanwhile, in the flat, Todd is either about to use the emergency bag or get rid of it. Either way, he's caught by Theo, who goes through it. Shampoo, toothpaste, and a wallet with 21 quid in it. What the fuck's this all about? Todd says it was a going away present from George because Todd has let it slip that they're off to Belfast.
Theo believes none of this.
No. George, Christina, Sarah, David, and Brian are all at the bistro consoling George after a
Summer.
tough day in court, but they should get a verdict tomorrow, apparently. In comes Theo with Todd at his heels, waving the bag around, and he announces, yes, he has got a fabulous new job in Belfast. Oh, don't all congratulate him at once, says Todd, who surely must know that everyone hates Theo, and no one says anything congratulatory or otherwise, and even less likely now Todd's made a big song and dance about it.
Right.
Theo throws the money back at George, calling it dirty. Sarah insists that Todd's friends have his best interest at heart, not Theo. But Todd isn't so sure and goes off in a rant, saying that Sarah's a slag, basically.
Yeah, that
Christina-
was harsh. I mean, it wasn't wrong,
It's not a lie.
but it was harsh.
Christina's a gold digger who will be off like a shot if George loses tomorrow. And Brian is so boring he doesn't even get any insults.
Yeah,
And Brian actually looks a little put out by this.
he does, but it was funny.
Summer, who has been on the verge of tears throughout this, barks at Todd to stop, saying that he's been cruel. And this does wind Todd in a little bit. But he says he's going away to Belfast to get away from all the nosy haters. And Theo has the biggest erection that he's ever had at this. It's on Friday. As George heads back to court, Todd apologises for last night, saying that he went too far and he was out of order. George suggests that Todd is scared of Theo. Todd doesn't seem in the mood to chat about this any further and wishes George good luck for the day. George tells him that he'll always care about him. Then Glenda appears with mint imperials and off they go to court, which looks like it's in a back room at the Rape Hotel. The judge, or whoever it is that presides over this sort of thing, finds that the dead woman's sister... Dead woman's sister?
Dead woman's daughter. It's her daughter, not her sister.
Annie
Annie is
Annie?
the daughter, yeah.
has won. And that the old will should be reinstated and that George manipulated his way into getting his name in the new will and George is ordered to pay all the costs. And George does his best not to cry. And this is utter bullshit.
It is utter bullshit because I think we've laid out quite clearly that there is no proof and speculated wildly that there's no way that this Damien guy is going to give any sort of witness that would be credible in any sort of court. And Corrie seems to know this because we don't get to hear any of it. We just hear the judgment. That's it.
I'm
don't
amazed
get-
we got that much.
We don't get anything else. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
I don't understand how they can say that they're satisfied that George has basically swindled his way into
An old lady's,
an old lady's
will.
will. Because nobody has any proof of that.
No. It seems like they're basically using the will as proof of that. And that's not how proof works.
No, the existence of something. Because who's to say that Annie didn't manipulate her mother/sister into the draft into the first will?
Right.
If that's what we're using as a basis
Right.
of fact.
Yeah.
It's just so strange. But for them to point out that this is what the judge has come to, this is the
Yeah.
conclusion
Right.
that the judge has come to somehow.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre. What
Yeah.
George should have done right from the start, though.
Was say,
I don't want any
I
of
don't
this.
want any of this. You take it. Not a big deal. And yet Christina told him not to.
Because maybe she is a gold digger, but also what she says isn't wrong. It's that
Right.
this person wanted to thank you for not just taking care of me and my funeral requirements, but for my whole family.
Right.
And for my grandparents probably, and they've probably always gone to Shuttleworths.
Right.
And they feel that they owe something to them.
Yeah.
And that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
But it does put George in a difficult position. And,
You're right.
And he really should have just
Giving it back.
said, no, thank you very much.
Right. Yeah.
And this would have gone away. And to be fair, Adam did say to him, just refuse it,
Yeah.
and this goes away.
Right.
But then Christina got her opinion into
And you know
whispering
what?
into George's
You know what?
ear.
I'm still not convinced that she didn't have a part in this somehow.
It was interesting that Todd
I don't
basically
understand
called
why
her
Todd.
a gold digger.
Right, and I don't understand why Todd wasn't in court. Because isn't he part of this as well? Because he works for Shuttleworth.
He takes nothing to do with it. He was at work, but he wasn't at the court. I guess somebody has to be at work.
You'd think that he would be, I don't know, called as a witness or something to say, did you ever see anything untoward between Annie's mom and your boss?
But nobody's going to call him because the prosecution, as it is, aren't going to call him because that's what he's going to say. And the defence aren't going to call him because he would say that.
It would be something, though, wouldn't it? Just something.
I don't know. They were determined to make George lose, so I don't think anything's going
Does
to
he
help
even
that.
have a lawyer? I didn't even see a lawyer with him.
Well, he's got a barrister that apparently was going to tear Adam a new one. Didn't see that happening either.
No,
This is all going to rack and ruin since Imran left.
it's bullshit. Yeah.
I wasn't happy
And
about
then
this, but this is always what was going to happen.
Right, yeah.
Then George says he doesn't know how he was going to pay for this. Yeah. Because all undertakers are struggling to make a living. Anyway,
People are dying all the time, babe.
so in the pub later, George laments that Archie will be spinning in his grave thanks to the rotating coffin that he was buried in. Todd comes in to offer his condolences and George asks him to stay for a drink, but Todd's unsure because he hasn't been home yet. So George says, no, of course, if you're worried about,
Yeah.
And this is all it takes to encourage Todd to stay out for a drink. When he gets home, Theo is furiously peeling a potato. Todd is an hour late getting home, and Theo demands to know where he's been. I mean, this is just...
Look out the window!
I know this is the...
Look out the window! You can see the rovers from your window.
This is the smallest of red flags, but demanding to know where someone's been because they're an hour late from work. I think your instinct is, oh, were you working late? I mean, an hour isn't like, oh, you're like 4 hours late getting home and I've been making dinner.
Right.
An hour late's, it can happen. Bad traffic. Well, not there's traffic from Shuttleworth
No.
to the flat, but, it's... I don't know, I've just said, go fuck yourself, Theo.
or,
I've been going fuck yourself. That's where I've been.
Or, oh, I'm so glad you're home. I was worried that something had happened to you.
Yes.
Yeah. If you were that concerned, why didn't you text?
Or just go to the pub.
Right. Or call.
Because you've got your Lizzie's tramp tracker, let's not forget. You knew exactly where it was.
Not to toot our own horns, but if I'm late or you're late, we text one another. We communicate. We're also like on one of those Find a Friend on the Apple. So
I leave work at 4. These days, it's closer to 4:30.
right.
I don't know that that's worth mentioning because
Yeah.
it's only half an hour.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I leave for work and get home from work on the days that I go to work after you leave and before you get home.
Yes.
So
So I
it
don't
doesn't
know.
really matter. But still, good couples communicate with one another and don't get mad over stupid shit.
If I was going to be super late, I would absolutely let you know.
Yeah.
And the day that you needed me to be home,
Yeah.
you let me know.
Yeah.
There we go.
Exactly.
It's not difficult.
It's not
And no potatoes had to get peeled furiously.
like we would peel a potato. Skin's the best part.
I peel potatoes all the time.
Do you? Why?
All those roast potatoes that you have,
Skin's the best part.
they're all peeled.
Are they?
I'll tell you what, you can eat the peelings.
That's where all the nutrients are.
Todd, anyway, admits to having a drink with George, so Theo suggests, well, maybe you should grab your emergency bag and fuck off to George's if you don't want to go to Belfast. I want to be with you, says Todd. Well, fucking well start showing it, says Theo. And that's as far as we get with that this week. I had such high hopes on Sunday and on Monday when basically it comes out, right? It comes out
Yeah.
and nobody that's even just tangentially involved in this storyline has any doubt whatsoever that Theo's a wrong and he's abusing Todd and Todd needs to get out of that.
Yeah.
And foolishly, I thought that everyone knowing that would have some effect on the storyline, but it hasn't really.
Well, it has. It means Todd is digging in his heels. If it was just one person, maybe he'd leave. But because it's everybody ganging up on him, he's digging in his heels.
Why does he not remember Billy?
Well, see, that's the thing. With Billy, it was just Billy. And so he was able to believe Billy and want to get out of it. But with everybody, it was like 5 or 6 people ganging up on you and saying, hey, we're worried about this and everything. Then you dig your heels in because it's overwhelming. If it was just George, it might be better, but it's not. The fact that he's so willing to leave Summer, though.
Summer's wee face.
Summer, who has gone from 4 dads to 1 dad.
It's like us with cats.
And then, yes. And
Our 4 cats.
our 4 cats are now 1
A
cat.
sitcom. One of them's called Greg Evigan.
Now I want to get another cat just so we could name it Greg Evigan. And for that, like, 1 dad who, after the last one died, said, I will always be here for you. You can always depend upon me. To just up and say, fuck off, I'm going to Belfast. That's gotta break her poor wee heart.
It's not a great look. It is not a great look.
No. Even Billy wouldn't do that to her.
And she is so distraught about it.
She's devastated.
And Todd doesn't seem to see it.
Or he kind of sees it when she's like, you're being needlessly cruel.
Well, I think that was a great little moment. But it was her voice that
Right.
cuts through all the noise in his head. And
Right.
that, I guess, shows that she's still somewhat important to him.
Right.
At the bare minimum.
And I feel like this is one of the cruelest things that Theo does. It's because his kids don't give a fuck about him.
Not a single fuck do they give.
So he, it feels like he especially wants to create a rift between Summer and Todd because he cannot stand the fact that that a gay dad has a good relationship with their child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because Millie's like, Have you ever got to see those kids again? Was I promised Danielle this week?
Not this week. Next.
Because I feel like the spoilers for this week were fucked up by the sports ball.
No. It was in Corrie News last week that the actor who plays Danielle is coming back.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That's great.
It wasn't spoiler.
Can't wait.
Just you wait.
Now, Summer...
An hour and a half from now.
Summer is gaining some traction in the sweepstakes of who do you think is going to kill the person that is going out of the show?
I don't think Summer could kill anybody.
I don't know that she has it in her.
But I think that, but I will say this, not going to give anything away, but I will say that I do believe that Summer is going to be a conduit for a death.
How would you quantify the grief that Summer felt in the death of one William Mayhew? I would say she was overwhelmed with grief.
She was overwhelmed with grief because it was so soon after Paul.
So overwhelmed that
Yes.
she slugged Debbie in the jaw.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
When she finds out that
Theo is the one who caused Billy's death. Yeah.
Can you see Summer being so full of rage that she takes Theo's life?
No. First of all, she's a wee thing. She can slug Debbie because Debbie's about her height. She's not killing Theo. But I believe that she could possibly be a conduit for that information getting from one family to another, and that other people within her circle could cause the death of Theo.
But not like that. The golden snippet of information that happened a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. It was on Billy's funeral, I think, whenever that was, when Carol overheard
Right.
Theo confessing to the coffin of Billy.
Yes.
And because of the way that the show is doing this flash forward thing,
Right.
it's never been mentioned again.
No.
It needs to be mentioned soon because this is important and we're running out of time here and this information has to come out.
But wait an hour and a half and we'll talk about it on the other show.
Okay.
You do this to me all the time now, man.
I'm sorry that I've got opinions. I'm sorry that I've got strong opinions. Because if it doesn't come out soon, then they're never going to mention it.
Right.
All right, let's move on to our next storyline then. Bernied out of her Bernies. On Sunday, if we thought we'd seen the last of Mal Roper, we'd be mistaken. He bounds into Dev's house and tells Dev that he knows it wasn't him what assaulted him. He knows it was Kit. And more than that, he knows that Bernie knew it was Kit all along and kept quiet and offered a night of passion to him to keep his mouth shut.
Oh. Like Dev's going to believe that.
Because that's how the world works, Mal.
Yeah.
Being a gentleman, Mal refused. But now Dev knows all of this. He expects that they'll break up, and Mal will be waiting to pick up the pieces. After Mal leaves, Dev's gutted again that the No More Secrets pact that they agreed to prior to the holiday hasn't lasted very long. Bernie says that she was in an impossible position, but not like that. And Dev was never going to be charged because when have the police ever wrongly convicted a brown man of a crime that he didn't commit?
Hey, that's what I said.
Dev heads off to the cop shop to make sure Mal dropped the charges against them as promised. And then we just have a couple of scenes on Wednesday. A humbled Dev comes into Nina's rolls and asks for the pleasure of Bernie's company later for a date.
Aw.
And Bernie is thrilled to accept. So they head off somewhere that evening, and as they get into the car, we see that they're being watched by Mal.
Bum, bum, bum.
And that's as far as we get with that this week.
Yes.
I get so bored of this now. And I was never fully excited about it at any point anyway.
No, because it doesn't make sense. Why is this man latched on to Bernie of all people? Why is he not even trying to go back to his wife? Why have we never heard from this wife? Why has she not shown up? When will she show up?
She doesn't exist.
I would just like some confirmation of that.
I know.
Some further confirmation of that. And to find out, like, I don't know, that Mal was actually the guy in prison and was, like, writing two separate letters to Roy at the same time. Because he has multiple personality disorder or something.
Writing dirty limericks to Roy from prison.
That would be a soap opera.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Another one of Mal's dirty limericks. Yes, please. Written in the voice of Alice, this Inverness.
And then I want him to
mother.
go, I do, I want him to go completely doolally and be like speaking in Alice's voice and in Mal's voice.
He sometimes does that.
I want a Psycho moment where we open the door to a room and Mal stands up and he's dressed as his mother.
How would we know? It's just Mal dressed as an old woman.
Right. It could just be Alice. But
Could have Mal's mum. A badge that says Mal's mum on the front of it. I think we should all try and write a limerick for next week. A dirty limerick.
it is National Poetry Month after all.
All right, let's try and write a dirty limerick for next week.
Okay.
That Mal would send to Roy, but
In the voice of
Alice from Inverness.
Yes. Everyone send in your limericks.
Your dirty limericks.
Your dirty limericks. We will read them out.
And there'll be a prize for the best one.
Which
A
will
free,
be
a free T-shirt.
our high praise and gratitude.
A free T-shirt from a T-shirt draw. You got the Cannibal Corpse one that's got kittens on it.
You're not giving that away.
It's the first one I thought of. See, it's the first one that I thought of. There once was a young man named Roy. Anyway, our next storyline is Sucks to be a Webster. On Monday, Debbie and Lou are back on speaking terms again. It's Crafts Day in the prison and Lou and Debbie fucking love Crafts Day. Lou is sad because Debbie has her appeal hearing this week See, this was supposed to happen this week. And she's sure that she'll get released. Debbie says that she'll make new friends when she's gone. Debbie gets up to go back to her cell, excuses herself around Maureen. Fucking Maureen getting in the way. But then has a turn where she suddenly can't remember where she is or where she was going. Lou takes her back to her cell. And the moment passes, but Debbie describes it like the shutters came down and she felt like she was drowning. Lou worries that Debbie's getting worse, but Debbie says she's fine now, and Lou isn't to breathe a word of this to anyone, not like she did the last time.
Right.
And Lou's like, I'm not apologising for doing that. I was being a friend.
Yes.
And Debbie seems to understand that now. On Wednesday, Debbie is up to high dough in her cell looking for her journal when Lou appears. And Debbie thinks that one of the guards must have stolen it, the one with the face like a bulldog licking piss of a nettle. And she goes to the rec room to confront her. Oh, pig's tits, says Lou, and she chases after her. Debbie is aggressively accusing the guard of stealing the journal and looking like she might assault the guard. So Lou quickly picks a fight with that woman who ruined Kraft's day the last time. And suddenly the guard is too busy dealing with that. Later.
Is it Peggy or something?
I don't think it was Peggy.
Paula?
Oh, it could have been Paula.
I think it's Paula. Only not Paula who goes fully dressed in the hot tub. This is a new Paula. The Paula who slept with Tracy.
The Paula that wore business attire in Sally's hot tub.
Yes.
That was just one of those brilliant moments where you're watching that thinking, what the fuck are they doing?
Yep. I miss her.
What happened to her?
She got a gig on Doctors, I think.
No, in the show.
She got a gig on Doctors. So they had to write her out, and I think they just kind of quietly just wrote her out.
She was a no-nonsense lawyer. We need more no-nonsense
Yes,
lawyers
we
in
would
this
like
show.
some more no-nonsense lawyers. Adam is drowning here
Later, Debbie goes to
because he's full of nonsense.
Later, Debbie goes to apologise to the guard now that she's calmed down, and the guard spells it out clearly that Lou did her a favour, or she would be the one in solitary right now, and her appeal would be fucked. Back in her cell, Debbie finds that the journal was in her pillowcase all along.
Yeah. The journal is very important because it's where she writes things down so she'll remember them.
Yeah.
So that's why
who
she's so
people are.
panicked.
Mhm.
Yeah.
On Friday, Lou's stint in solitary is only for a day, and she's released back into the GP.
General public.
No.
General population.
General population.
Which is the public.
It's not really the public.
It's the prison public.
Let's just stick with population, which is the right answer.
Yes.
Before she and Debbie can get caught up too much, Debbie's called away. She has visitors. It's Kev and Jack. Got anything to say about Kev?
What the hell? What has happened to his face? Why?
He's had a wash.
Why? No, he's not just
He
had
has
a
had a
wash.
wash.
He's had a wash and a shave, and it's terrifying. If ever a man needed a beard, it's our Kev. He does not look healthy with a shaven face.
I think he looks clean. It's
He
an
looks
improvement.
terrible.
I think it's an improvement.
It's frightening. I had to look away. Because it shows how pale he is. He's like a wee ghosty sitting there.
Yeah, it does need a bit of sun.
He looks unhealthy.
It'd have been funny if Jack had Kev's beard. And they did it just to confuse Debbie, just to see what would happen. So they all check in on each other and they talk about the appeal, which was supposed to be this week, but I guess thanks to Sports Wall, it'll be next week.
They made the actress who plays Gemma put a terrible wig on. But Kev gets to shave and nobody says anything and they don't tape a beard to his face?
They can't put a lower half of his face on. He's not Bo Selector.
You can get a fake beard and get it taped to your face so you look normal to the show.
Adam is super confident about the appeal. But then Debbie has trouble getting a straw into a juice box and needs Jack's help, and Kev realises how quickly Debbie is deteriorating. He keeps quiet about it though. Back in the prison...
And nobody says anything about his face.
Nobody. Lou has been at woodworking and has made Debbie a small 4-leaf clover. But this one's got 5 leaves, says
And
Debbie.
we don't get to see it.
Extra lucky, says Lou. and Debbie hides it in her bra. And that's as far as I get with that this week.
And I think that's the end of Lou.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. I think we may get a little bit of her next week.
Debbie gave her a wee hug like it was going to be.
Like this was the end, yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh, that's such a shame.
Yeah, I'm going to start a petition for Lou to be like a regular character on the show.
I do love the life that these women have got in prison, just
Right, yeah.
doing arts and crafts every day.
Right, yeah. It's
How
like
good would that be?
It's like Orange is the New Black without all the sex.
You get square meals, you get a comfy-ish bed, I suppose.
You get some privacy.
Some fucking peace and quiet.
Right. How
And
many
some
mums
arts
get
and craft.
privacy?
I'm surprised more of them aren't in there.
It makes me want to do crimes.
Well,
It
we do the
doesn't-
podcast, it's enough.
It doesn't really, because I don't want to be in prison here.
I don't think
That would be worse.
I don't think it's
It'd be
an
terrible.
accurate representation. Remember the show? Was it 40 Days In or something like that, where they got actors to go into prison on the pretense, and then there was a pretense that there was a reality show getting filmed there or something, and it exposed the sort of corruption and the drug taking and all that sort of stuff. They genuinely looked like the scariest places on earth, and this was just the jail. So this wasn't even proper prison, but people have been there for months and years. I never realised that someone kicking off their flip-flops could be so antagonistic, because it's basically a shit's about to go down
Right, yeah.
when you kick off your flip-flops.
It's like a lady taking off her earrings.
Yeah, not so much crafts on 40 Days In, or whatever it was called.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I don't remember that show at all. Was that here? Or? I don't remember that.
There's a few seasons of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Genuinely terrifying.
I did watch the documentary, The Alabama Solution, this year because it was nominated for an Oscar, and that was genuinely terrifying. If there's one state in the union you don't want to be in prison, it's Alabama, because it's so incredibly corrupt.
60 Days In, it was called.
Ah,
An A&E reality docuseries where innocent volunteers are embedded as undercover inmates in jails for 60 days. And obviously, one of the main problems is the fear that they're going to get found out as not being a genuine inmate.
Right.
If their story doesn't check out.
right.
And a few of them had to get pulled out because they were about to come to quite serious harm. Keeping it light though, we move on to...
Were they like filming with phones or something? Because it would be really suspicious if like they had a film crew in there.
No, there was a film crew there under other pretenses. Let's talk offline.
Okay.
Our next storyline, sister from the same mister. On Monday, Shona's getting her hair done in the salon while Bethany does Jodie's nails.
Ooh.
It seems Bethany has a hot date coming up, and when she shows off the photo, Shona and Jodie are frothing. What a spunk. Bethany, though, is in two minds as she hasn't really dated since she got her stoma. Later, Jodie mentions that she had a great fella until she refused to marry him. Bethany, who let's remember is sus as fuck about Jodie, doesn't know why she wouldn't marry him if he was that great, and wonders what was so bad about him. Shona and Jodie bristle at the questioning, Shona saying it must be the journalist in Bethany that makes her so inquisitive. Jodie says, well, she's not a journalist anymore, she does nails. And then she sends Bethany off to make tea. And while she's gone, Jodie nabs Bethany's phone and pulls out of the date with a pretty nasty message. Date's off, don't contact me again.
Which would totally make a man contact her again.
Yeah, you alright?
Yeah. How dare you?
On Wednesday...
What's your problem, bitch?
Oh, do you think it would go that way? Yeah, why is men?
Why is men?
On Wednesday, Bethany's pushed the boat out, spending 25 quid on a new top for her date, and it's honking. In the pub, Sarah is pleased to see her getting back into the dating game, even if it does mean that she's telling her how much every item of clothing she's bought costs. The date is in the bistro, and Bethany's on the phone to Ethan, calling him a prick for standing her up. Hey, you're the one who cancelled, babes, he says, and promptly hangs up on her.
Right, yeah, it's funny because, like, apparently when he first picked up and she said, "This is Bethany," he said something like, "Hey, how are you? How's it going?" And she's like, "What do you mean, how's it going?"
Oh, it's going great because you stood me up, you prick.
Yeah. Which is hilarious. You know, considering that Jodie's message was like, "Don't contact me again."
It was written as though by someone for whom English was a second language.
Or someone who's being held against their will.
Or someone for whom English is a second language who is also being held against their will.
Possibly.
Jodie comes in to gloat over Bethany being stood up, but then seems to take pity on her and suggests that they have a drink together. And Bethany agrees. So while they're drinking, in comes Sarah, sorry to hear the date was a disaster that Bethany was predicting it would be. But when she sees Jodie, she's like, "Oh, I need to get your advice on Todd, who's in an coercive relationship like Yasmin and Tim's dad was." Jodie is confused about what she can add to the discussion until Sarah reminds her that she was in a similar situation. "Oh, that, yeah, well, Todd needs to realise this in his own time," she says, and then she nips off for a shite. "I don't fucking trust her, as far as I could fling her," says Bethany. "And I intend to get to the bottom of this, you mark my words."
If or my name isn't Detective Bethany. Da, 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 da.
We need to work on the theme tune. On Thursday, Bethany has got her chunky jewellery out of storage, and while she's pitying the fool, she bumps into Swain at Speed Dial and compliments her on Connie, who is adorable. Swain mentions that it was Jodie's idea to feed Connie a chicken vindaloo as one of her babysitting clients was Indian. Bethany casually asks about background checks, but Swain says it was Carla who did all that. Bethany
Carla did none of that.
sucks a thoughtful tooth on this. Meanwhile, Daniel is visiting his dad, who completely enables him as he makes it all about him. After dismissing the possibility that Megan did anything untoward to Bertie, I was kind of surprised that they mentioned that.
Yeah, I'm glad they did,
Like,
though.
oh.
I'm glad they did.
Because Bertie is 6,
Yes,
isn't he? 6, I think.
something like that. But still, I'm glad they addressed it. I'm glad that Ken said, "Are you concerned that she may have done something to Bertie?" And I appreciated the fact that Daniel's like, "Yeah, I thought of that, and I don't think so, because I've asked cautious questions to Bertie, and it doesn't seem like that has happened."
Bertie is 7 years old.
What?
That's only one more than the guess.
How is that possible?
Well,
It's
he was
shocking,
born on
isn't it?
January the 14th, 2019.
Has that really been 7 years ago?
I'm going to use the word babes here. Babes, just you wait. This gets much, much worse than the next storyline. But Daniel, I think, gets it wrong. Because he says, well, Megan and Bertie were never alone together. But they were.
But yeah, and he does correct himself. He's like, "Well, yeah, she walked him to school a few times." And then he says, I've asked some cautious questions to Bertie just to feel it out, and I don't think that she did anything to him.
No.
So, but I feel like it's definitely something that you would address if you found out that some person was grooming young people, and one of your young people was around them.
Yep.
You'd be concerned about that sort
She's
of
a
thing.
paedophile.
Right.
You're going to be suspicious of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I so sad and lonely that I'll jump at the chance to date a paedophile who uses me as their beard? Says Daniel.
Yes.
Everyone sees me as a nice guy. Well,
No, they
not,
don't.
Not everyone. And it wears him down. Ken looks on sympathetically like, yeah, I've been there. On
And
Friday,
he has.
new BFFs, Bethany and Jodie, are in the bistro while Bethany tries to fill in some of her gaps in the
But not like
backstory
that.
and get her drunk. Adam has been ordered by Ken to check in on Daniel, who is worried about his fragility. And right enough, Daniel is getting pished on his own in a booth, so Adam joins him. Daniel must nip off for a shite at some point because on his way back, Bethany asks him how he's doing. What you mean after having a relationship with a woman who was grooming a school child? Jodie's eyes pop out of her head. Yeah, what is it about me who attracts women who end up going batshit crazy?
Looking at you, Bethany.
And he taps his head. Thanks for the compliment, says Bethany. Well, yeah, let's face it, says Daniel. Otherwise, why would you go halfway around the world to Turkey for cosmetic surgery? Daniel is rarely asked to substitute for a geography teacher. Look, pal, says Jodie, I've no idea who the fuck you are, but back the fuck off before I rip your throat out and piss into your lungs. Adam comes along and drags Daniel back to the booth for more alcohol. Bethany thanks Jodie for sticking up for her and reckons she maybe made some wrong assumptions about Jodie. You're a good friend after all. Meanwhile, at the booth, Daniel says, so that Jodie seems really nice, doesn't she? And Adam slaps his forehead. And that's as far as we get with that this week. Yes, please. Let's have Daniel having a relationship with Jodie. This is going to be the one that pushes him over the edge.
It's not going to happen, but
It's not, but wouldn't it be great if it did?
I did like that there were moments here where Daniel almost seems to have some self-awareness about himself. But then he pushes back and makes it all about it's the women who are the problem, not me. Mm-hmm. Which is ridiculous. It's like, you are the common denominator here, sir.
Yeah.
You are the one picking these women.
Now, did Daisy go batshit crazy?
No. She did help conceal the fact that he was driving drunk and causing public damage.
Mm-hmm. Stealing a car.
And she did try to swindle money out of Jenny. Or no, not out of Jenny, out of Carla with Jenny.
There was the whole pregnancy thing, though.
Yeah, I guess. And the catfishing.
A little bit of catfishing.
Yeah.
A little bit of gentle catfishing.
Yeah, but that wasn't really crazy. That she was fully aware of what she was doing.
Does that make it any better?
Well, it means that she wasn't doing it as a crazy person. She was doing it as a fully sane person who wants to harm other people.
I don't know that that's any better.
She's not crazy. She's just bad.
She wasn't crazy.
She's bad.
Was Bethany crazy?
She's immoral. No.
Because the only thing that he picks up on here is the
It's that
cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, it's going to Turkey to get cosmetic surgery. And that's a terrible thing for a man to say, that a woman wanting cosmetic surgery means she's crazy. Mm-hmm. That's terrible. That's like the worst.
But Helen, she didn't need the cosmetic surgery because
she's so beautiful already.
Daniel loved her just the way she was.
Yeah.
And how can a woman have worth if it isn't bestowed upon her by a
Daniel.
man?
Oof.
Yeah. Physician, heal thyself. I thought this was quite good fun. I'm just a little disappointed that Bethany seems to be now on Team Jodie a little bit here, because it seemed like she was getting super close to getting somewhere.
It is kind of ridiculous. I don't understand why she'd be like, oh, you stuck up for me, so now you're fine. That doesn't... It's like, Bethany, you're supposed to be smart.
Yeah, and all that Jodie really did was violently react to something that wasn't her business.
Right. But she was defending Bethany.
Bethany didn't need no defending. Bethany was handling that perfectly well.
It's fine. But it is ridiculous that Bethany's
She's got a knuckle duster on. She was ready to...
It's ridiculous that Bethany's like, oh, I misjudged you because you were nice to me this one time.
Right, this one time. You were actually a decent human being.
Do you think maybe...
I thought she was going to realise
Do you think maybe Bethany's just putting it on?
Quite possibly. I thought that she was going to put some... connect some dots here about the failed date. I guess there's not an awful lot to go on, though. Because Jodie deleted the message as soon as she sent it.
Yeah, but Bethany is very suspicious of Jodie coming in like immediately after she gets off the phone with that guy. She's like, why are you here?
And she says that she's there for Shona.
Right, because Shona's nosy. And it's like...
Shona doesn't care.
Shona does not give a fuck.
No.
And if she does, it's because she was shot in that stomach that one time.
Yeah.
And it gave her brain damage.
Yep. All right. Our final storyline tonight is Meet the Driscolls.
Meet the Driscolls.
On Sunday, Maggie and Ollie are chatting oysters, which Ollie wants to put on the menu. I don't know that I'd eat an oyster from the Rovers.
Only in a month that ends in R.
Is that the rule?
Yeah.
Because the Rover starts with an R?
Because you only eat oysters in months that start with that end in R.
I don't know if I've stuck to that or not.
No, you haven't, because I've seen you eat an oyster in July.
Oh.
It's funny though, because like they mentioned apples at one point as well, and on the day that this episode came out, I was reading a book called Apples to Oysters.
Yeah.
About Canadian foodways. It's very good.
You're so cool.
I am.
Yeah, I think I'd give oysters at the Rovers a miss. I don't care how fancy the menu's supposed to be. They still basically just serve hot pot.
Right.
But Ollie's trying to make
They
it
do
a bit
have
more.
a fully functioning kitchen back
An
there that we've
enormous
seen
kitchen.
once. We've seen it once, and I'm not quite sure. I think it's a TARDIS.
It is enormous.
Because how do they fit it in there? Fried oyster. I'd eat a fried oyster at the Rovers. I wouldn't eat them on the half shell.
I don't know that
Raw.
I've always done this, but I definitely prefer to eat oysters when I can see or smell the sea.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with lobster.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Although
oyster-
we've eaten lobster here in Michigan.
Oh, I know.
So.
Oysters, says Maggie, when your brother is being groomed.
Is that an allusion to the fact that oysters are an aphrodisiac?
I believe so.
Oh, fuck off, Maggie.
She's also worried about the street finding out about this. Ollie reckons that they already know and arranges to meet Amy to find out what the gossip is. Amy, though, doesn't know much, but suggests that Will is going to have to admit it to himself first before any healing can happen, which, to be fair, is pretty much what Jodie said about Todd.
Right, yes. And Amy has been raped, so she has... I think she's a good person to ask. Of course, any woman on the street is a good person to ask now that I stop and think about it.
Yeah.
So, why is he not asking Lauren? It's just
Well, I don't
Lauren's
know
not
if they're
in.
talking to each other anymore because
I thought
Lauren,
that they'd
remember...
gotten back together.
But Lauren was upset that Ollie didn't tell her about Will and Megan.
Yeah, but upset?
We haven't seen them in a scene since that happened. So through the back of the Rovers, Ollie tries to get Will to open up, and he's doing a good job talking about Buddhist ideals of change not being a difficult thing, but resistance to it. And Will looks like he's about to say something when Maggie comes in like a clown in a minefield, going on about how George has ordered half a dozen oysters. On Monday,
Oh, George.
in Nina's Rolls, Steve and Tim are talking about the Will situation after a brief conversation with Ollie. Steve reckons that Tim should speak to Will, given, his grooming at the hands of Trish.
Yes.
Tim tells Steve to wind his fucking neck in. In the back room of the Rovers, Ben walks in on Will as he hurriedly leaves another message for Megan. Ben sees the phone being hurriedly put away but says nothing. Instead, he begs Will to open up to him, to tell him what's going on, and once again Will looks close to cracking, and once again he's put off when Maggie comes into the room. Later, Will finally gets a message from Megan looking to meet. Meanwhile, Tim and Sally are in the pub. He's still angry with Steve, but when he explains why, Sally, of course, agrees with Steve because it's about Trish. Ben catches wind of this, and Sally tells him that Tim had a similar experience to Will's, except he was younger. Tim seems to think that it was also different because Trish wasn't a teacher, and he was keen to fill his boots. But Ben makes it clear that Megan has manipulated Will and stolen what she wanted from him, all from a kid not mature enough to make that decision. And Tim watches Will eating a bag of crisps gormlessly and realises how young he is, and by extension, how young he was. He tells Sally that he needs to talk with Trish. She has some questions, and Sally is like, oh, finally. So he texts her, asking to meet up, and he gets the dots coming back that she's responding, but then they disappear, and it goes quiet, and she never answers. During this, Ben has another go at getting Will to open up, but now Will is making out that this is all his fault for having a stupid crush and making everyone upset. Ben is furious and can't believe he's been such an idiot and covering for her. So he goes and meets Megan later in an alleyway somewhere, and she announces that she has a place at the precinct, and he can't believe that she'd get a place where everyone hates her. She thinks they'll all come round because of the baby. The baby will change everything, she says. He wants to come clean, but she insists that they stick to the plan. And at this point, I'm getting a little worried that she keeps on mentioning the baby.
Yeah.
She announced her pregnancy in January.
Yeah. It's April.
Some bump to
No.
be expected? No?
No, not really. Maybe a little bit. It would be easily covered. It wouldn't be like, this is only like beginning of month 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, she wouldn't really be showing too much at this point.
Gotcha. I'm never sure of when you start to show. When does somebody obviously look pregnant?
Yeah, and some people never do.
Yeah?
I never really looked all pregnant, but that's because I'm fat.
Whew, well, I'm not too sure where to go from here. Oh, I do. Wednesday.
There you go.
On Wednesday, breakfast in the pub, and Ben and Will are trying to engage in banter about popular music. Will needs to dash off for school, but Maggie is very particular that he remembers to put on his jacket. She helps him into it and sends him on his way. There you go. It's clear that she's up to something, though.
Yeah.
Something that might involve Lizzie's tramp tracker. And she'd be wise to, because Will is off to Megan's flat in the precinct. Megan's a bit antsy about him being there for any length of time, though. But he makes a song and dance about all three of them being together soon. And she's suddenly making an enormous deal about being pregnant again.
Yeah, and she puts her hand on her tummy and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's making a big song and dance.
Big production here.
And also, all of a sudden, living at the precinct sounds really noisy. Like she has very noisy neighbors.
Have we seen the inside of the precinct before?
Well, I mean, we've seen the inside of the part where Lauren used to live and where Sean and Dylan live.
Oh, we've seen inside.
Yeah.
But the little communal...
hallway. And I don't know if Lauren and Sean and Dylan's places have like a communal doorway because they're kind of like up a separate stairway and are open to the outside.
Mm-hmm. I do remember Stu knocking on someone's door and then having the door slammed in his face. I think that was in one
Was
of those
that in the
flats.
precinct? I thought that was like in some other place.
I can't remember.
Me neither. Still, it seems very noisy.
He says he loves her and then leaves. Later, there's a knock at Megan's door and she shits herself when she opens it and sees Maggie standing there. Well, you would, wouldn't you? She quickly puts her foot in the door and insists that it's time that they had a little chat. Maggie knows Will has been here but denies knowing anything about her tracker. She wants Megan to move away and to never contact Will again or she'll have her to answer to. Megan doesn't think Maggie is as scary as she thinks she is. No, says Maggie.
I'm worse.
And she tells Megan that when she's locked up, the Driscolls will get her baby and they'll spend every waking moment explaining how its mother is a fucking paedophile. That doesn't sound very much fun for the baby either, does it?
Doesn't sound like something that Ben and Eva would do.
Does sound like abuse in its own way.
Yes.
Megan goes for Maggie, but the old bird quickly overpowers her younger, fitter counterpart, calls her a deviant and throws her on the landing floor, stomach first. She then bids Megan a good day and goes on her way.
I said good day, sir.
Ben, meanwhile, has got notification that Will dogged school, but when he challenges him on it later, he says that he gets the piss ripped out of him too much, and Ben promises to take him in tomorrow, and I thought that was going to be a thing, but it turns out not to be. Then Will gets urgent texts from Megan telling him to contact her now. At night, Lizzie's tramp tracker has lost its signal, and that's because Will has been tipped off about it by Megan. They meet in her car, and she tells him that thanks to Maggie's assault, she's lost the baby. And I'm not sure that there ever was a baby, and now that there's not, or there's still a baby, or what. It's impossible to really tell what the status is at this point.
Right. But it will be very easy to prove that she did not lose this baby through Maggie's assault, because when she goes to the police station to file a report of the attack by Maggie, she doesn't say anything about losing a baby. There's no hospital report. There's no nothing.
No, they all skim over this, and we'll get to that.
Yes.
On Thursday, Swain shows up at the back room in the pub where no one seems to be aware of her rank. She wants to talk to Maggie about her assault on Megan, While Will quietly fumes or is constipated, no one else can believe it, as no one knew where Megan was, least of all the fucking precinct. Maggie admits to warning Megan to stay away from Will, but knows nothing about an assault. Oddly, Swain tears a page out of her notebook, hands it to Maggie and tells her that she wants a statement by the end of the day like it's fucking homework, and then heads off to get a curry and another storyline. And
That's
this
weird.
is
So
super
fucking weird.
strange.
Yeah. Take her down, get a statement on the record, and then later, when you find out that Megan is accusing you of killing her baby, you can go back and say, hey, you didn't ask me any questions about this particular part, and it feels like you would ask me questions about this if this is what actually happened.
So,
And then the police would be like, oh, no, she didn't say anything about that. That's very interesting.
yeah,
Especially since we wanted DNA from her from this baby.
it's Kit that's involved in this case.
But Lisa should be aware of
And
it.
would tell Swain about it.
Yeah.
They should all know about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting a little bit confused here because I don't know who has said to whom about what.
Yeah. It is
And
a
you
little
just
bit
know
like
that
that.
everything that Megan says is a lie.
Right.
But you're right. Megan's gone to the police, said that she's been assaulted, hasn't mentioned losing the baby,
No. Has not gone to the hospital.
but does mention. Oh,
She
we'll get to
she tells Will she's been to the hospital. But he's stupid and a child, so he's not going to ask her for he's not going to be confused that she says, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal." Which is what she says.
Yeah, I think later on in this episode. And maybe this does happen, but it's so strange that Swain doesn't take Maggie in. And I think Maggie is the sort of character you would take in.
Absolutely. Especially the way she's talking to Swain, saying, "Oh, can I call you Lisa?" And Swain's like, "Not when I'm working."
Yeah, and I'll speak to you later about this. No.
No, you'll speak to me now. But then she gives her a piece of paper and says, "All right, just write it out and give it to me later, whatever." It's weird.
So it's like, I'll give you this piece of paper and I'll leave, and then all of you in the room can decide what the story is.
Right.
It just seems so unlikely. Will has skedaddled at this point and meets Megan in her red Citroen. He's surprised
Not suspicious at all.
He's surprised that she was let out of hospital so quickly, but she explains that she was offered counselling and everyone was sort of nice, and this kind of thing happens all the time, so no one really cares. Will is fuming that Maggie has murdered her baby and seems confused when Megan doesn't share the rage.
Yeah, she's like, "It's not that big of a deal."
Back at the pub, Will tells everyone that Maggie's put a tracker in his coat. Ben and Eva are fucking furious at her meddling. Will goes on to say that he went to Megan's to declare his love, but she knocked him back and threatened to do him for stalking. No one asks him how he knew where Megan was, and he's allowed to strop off in a huff. Because he didn't know where Megan was. How would he find out where Megan was?
Right.
The only way he can find out where Megan was is if Megan told him where he was.
Right.
But nobody thinks about that.
It's
Maggie goes back to see Megan, who tells her that she doesn't have the energy for this, that she's had a miscarriage. Maggie doesn't really care and says, "Well, now you can tell us whose baby it was." Megan insists it was Daniel's, who she says is a good bloke and didn't deserve any of this. Maggie looks uncertain, like maybe she did the wrong thing. But Maggie goes back to the pub to tell Ben and Eva about Megan's miscarriage, and Ben is now even madder. This baby was their only proof, and now thanks to Maggie's fucking around, that proof is gone. And then we see Megan in a counselling session talking to a woman about losing her baby and how she had already made plans and imagined it getting gold at the 2044 Olympics, which is somehow only 18 years away. Whoa.
That can't possibly be right.
Oh,
That can't possibly be true at
I
all.
feel like I'm going to be sick. Oh, 2044 is 18 years away.
My mother will be 96.
I'll be 71. Oh, I'll be dead.
You will not. Don't say shit like that. It's not funny.
I got credit cards renewed. The old ones had expired, and these ones, their expiry date is January 2031. And I just wanted to go back to my bed. Ugh. given her medical condition, Megan says that she wonders if she'll ever get another chance, and she thinks that she's jinxed it. After terminating one baby, why would she ever get the chance to have another? And now at this point, I've got no idea what's happened. Either Megan is still pregnant, or she had a miscarriage yesterday, or she had a termination yesterday, or she had a termination during the week that she disappeared,
Right.
or she was never pregnant in the first place.
I think she had a termination the week she disappeared. Remember? She was on the phone making an appointment. Yeah.
Yes. I kind of feel like all of these are as likely as each other, though. It's just impossible to tell. On Friday, Maggie's still in the cunt books with Ben, so she decides to make matters worse by interrogating Will like she's a Stasi. She plays on him losing the baby, understands how much he must be grieving and how much it must be eating him up not being able to let his emotions out. Will still looks a bit constipated, and even though he sticks to the story, he looks like he's wobbling a bit, so Maggie goes in for the kill, telling him that Megan doesn't love him, she's using him, she's controlling him, and does he really think there won't be another stupid little boy after Megan's done with him, and asks how many stupid little boys there were before him in the first place. Ben and Eva burst in at all this din, and Will shouts that Maggie is wrong, and finally runs off for that shite he's been threatening since yesterday. Ben and Maggie go for it. Ben and Maggie go at it. He accuses her of messing everything up with her interfering, and she accuses him of not doing enough to protect her grandson, and she's the only one who cares about this family. Ben says that when she's like this, he often thinks that the wrong parent died, because there's no way his dad would be behaving like this.
Which, while not wrong, is kind of a terrible thing to say.
It is a terrible thing to say, and I think it's sort of out of the blue as well.
Yes. Yeah, it's there for plot.
I mean,
Oh, fuck off, Maggie.
Maggie has been reprehensible throughout this, but any more so than she normally is? She does accuse him of not caring about Will. But I'm sure she said worse things to him than this. So it's weird that this is a thing that brings this up in this way.
Well, I think it's because he cares so much about Will and what the hell is going on with Will. Did you tell Benny he could take your car?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's the combination of just being really frustrated with her, but also being frustrated with himself because he feels so powerless over this whole situation with Will that makes him lash out to this degree. But it still feels unbearably cruel, even to someone like Maggie.
Yeah, you don't say to your mum that I wish you'd died.
I never said that to my dad, even when it was true.
Which was the best way, though? If you say something like that, maybe you have a chance of clearing the air.
I don't think that it would be possible ever to clear that particular air.
Well, not now.
Which is fine. Some things can't be forgiven. Keeping it light.
Yeah. She's stunned for a second, but immediately goes on the offensive. You barely knew Alan, she says. Interestingly, not saying dad.
You barely knew your dad. No, you barely knew Alan.
Alan!
Alan!
Alan Halsall goes, what?
Alan Partridge says, aha!
Ha-ha! The Alan Parsons Project says, I don't know. I've bitten off more than I can chew. You barely knew Alan, she says, interestingly not saying dad, and yet here you are taking his side over mine, your own flesh and blood. And she does a pantomime turn on the audience here while Ben looks confused. What do you mean by that, he says. Is my dad not my flesh and blood? Oh, you got me all angry and confused, she says. Now look what you've done. I don't recall her denying anything, though.
No.
So later, as Eva's locking up, this is still weighing heavily on Ben. Eva says, well, you did just wish her dead after all.
Right.
Ben says, she implied that my dad isn't really my dad. Eva gives him a hug as his brain starts ticking over all the evidence he's probably been building up over the years.
And the steam slowly comes from his ears.
And that is how we end this week's episodes. I think we got through all that at a fair old rate of knots this week.
Yes. Even while doing Alan Partridge impersonations.
To be fair, that didn't take up a huge amount of time.
No, it never does. Remember when I thought Alan Partridge was a real person?
Everyone has thought that at one point. Let it go, Lynn. You're never going to meet him. So, how do you feel about this one then?
It's nice that we've got some progress.
Feels like an awful lot happened in this storyline this week.
Yeah. Feels like we're moving on.
Bringing the whole dead dad thing in again is
And
good.
it is April, so, we're going to start seeing more and more stuff happening as the weeks go on. We've got about 2-3 weeks.
Couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah. Before it all comes tumbling down.
Well, does it? I can imagine how this goes, where somebody gets killed and this gets dragged out for another couple of months as to who did it.
Right, yeah. While other people slowly die.
I have always gone with Maggie killing Megan. I'm not so sure about that anymore. I think I'm more inclined to think that Theo's the one that dies.
Well, that's what I texted you last week, so.
That's what you thought, yeah.
Yeah. Because how else is Todd getting out of this marriage?
Mm-hmm. And we've got all these people now who absolutely hate Theo, but
Right.
only a few of them are capable of murder, one would think.
Right, yes. And one very much is capable of murder, and that would be one Gary.
Mm-hmm. It's not really his business to kill.
Yeah,
Theo.
but also he hates bullies.
Does someone who kills a bully become a bully?
I think that ship has already sailed. But,
Let's ask Rick the Chin for his opinions on this.
and it's quite possible that more than one person would be involved in the death of Theo, or the death of any of them. Because let's not forget, all of these people have a large group of people who hate them. With the exception maybe of Maggie.
Jodie just really has probably Bethany at this point, and Bethany doesn't hate her.
No.
Nobody's killing Jodie. Jodie's far too interesting and has got far
Is
too
she?
many. Yeah, I think she is. I think she's got lots of secrets that she's yet to tell.
But are those interesting secrets?
Well, we'll know when we hear them. But
Maybe,
there's-
I feel like maybe Jodie is the killer, and because she's a serial killer, like every week she'll off another one. And then she'll be caught and thrown in prison, and then that'll be all the villains taken care of.
I think she's far more likely to be the killer than the killed. She does like getting involved in other people's business.
Seriously.
And taking things to an extreme.
Yeah. Yeah. And that will continue.
Now, who she would kill? She could kill Carl.
She could kill anybody. She doesn't. She feels
Right,
like
she doesn't really care.
She feels like the kind of serial killer who kills just because they want to kill people,
Mm-hmm.
not for like any reason.
Nobody's killing Maggie, I don't think. The show just cares far too much about the Driscoll family unit, and I think her part in it is too pivotal. So I don't see that she's going anywhere. So that's Maggie and that's Jodie not getting killed. Which leaves us with Theo, Carl.
Theo and Carl, that's it. And Theo's the one who's going to get murdered. Because the other three are
and
women.
Megan. I think it's acceptable if Megan gets killed. Because you're not rehabilitating that character.
No, she's going to go, but we have complained about this in the past.
And we will complain about it again, but yes.
They tend to kill off bad people, which is not satisfying at all because you want them to pay for their crimes. You want them to go to jail. You don't want them to die.
Megan is going to be charged and it is going to go to trial and she's going to plead not guilty and all of this is going to get dragged through the courts. I think is how this one's going.
I don't know. They don't tend to drag things through the courts on this show.
They haven't had a good courtroom week for a while.
Yeah, and they dropped the ball this week with the whole George thing.
That wasn't a good courtroom week. That was one scene in a courtroom or
right,
two scenes in a courtroom.
Which they didn't even give us.
No, because we've had the Kelly the Chin trial and the ITV Corrie trial.
And Lauren.
So we've had some moments in a courtroom where it's the same judge who keeps them falling asleep. I can see that happening for Megan, because she is going to plead not guilty, and it's just going to be more harrowing for the family. So it basically leaves us then Theo and Carol.
And maybe they kill one another. Maybe they get into a fight and they kill one another and everybody claps.
I can't see them getting as a Carol either. It's Theo. It's got to be Theo. The main question is who's going to kill him. Todd.
And Gary.
Now, if they go the Todd way, then
that's not a good look.
It's not a good look, and it also plays out the Yasmin and Tim's dad storyline again.
Which was why it will be Gary. Or Carl. Maybe Carl is the one who kills Theo.
Maybe Carl, yeah, and then disappears on the run to Germany.
Where he's murdered by gangsters who he owes money to.
Do you know, that might be the way it goes.
Yeah. That's the way I'd do it.
This storyline, though, I think it did give us more baby confusion. It gave us how does Megan get a flat when she doesn't have a job and she's got claims of paedophilia floating over her?
Well, I doubt that she's going to write that on a rental application, is she? She doesn't have to give that information.
No, she does have to give them money.
Right. Well, she's been living with Leanne, so that's been cheap.
You think?
Yeah. She's been saving up. And before she moved in with Leanne, she was living at the Driscolls, wasn't she?
No, she was living in Hull.
No, she wasn't driving all the way back and forth between Hull and Manchester. That's
what they were doing. That's what they were doing. And Maggie was paying her for it.
I don't really care. There are so many other ridiculous things about the storyline that how Megan affords a flat is like really far down on my list of concerns.
Well, it just adds to the fuckery about it, I think. And why would she want to be in well, she's got to be local, I guess.
She's got to be close to Will.
Yeah, and she can't use the B&B in the Rovers anymore.
You know,
who
but
even knows if that's a thing?
I also don't understand why she would want to still be close to Will. You'd think that she would be like, oh, well, the jig is up. I'm going to move someplace else and start grooming another kid.
Right.
Because that's what tends to happen.
Yep.
With pedophiles.
Yeah, I would expect that more than anything. I thought that's what had happened when she disappeared. But
because it's clear that she's done this before.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of feels like she would have a pattern already and she'd know when to cut her losses.
Yeah, the heat's far too high in Weatherfield for her at the moment.
Right. The fact that she will sit in a car with him on a public street is just ridiculous.
What else can she possibly want to get out of this, though? I guess she knows that's causing a lot of hurt. But I don't know that that's her motivator.
No. And I don't think she genuinely loves Will.
No, I think
or wants
Maggie,
to be in a relationship with Will.
Well, Maggie's right about that.
Yeah.
Well, we will see. But that was the week that was Coronation Street. Helen, time to pick your moment of the week.
George.
Which bit?
All George.
That's several moments then.
Just George. George is my moment. I would say George delivering the go bag.
More than blinking back the tears?
Wasn't he blinking back tears with the go bag? I think he was blinking back tears like every scene he was in with Todd.
No, there was one where he was really blinking back the tears.
Is it the Belfast one? In the pub?
It was when he says, no one said that you're getting battered. That was on the Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, that.
So when we called it out right at the start of the podcast.
No one said that you were getting battered, is our
moment of the week.
And your boring moment of the week.
I I can't really give it to Ken
No, you
because that
can't.
was a pretty heady moment. The only moment Ken gets this week.
There was a nice little moment I didn't speak about in the notes where he goes into the pub and says to Ben, "How's your son doing?"
Yeah,
And
that was really
Ben says, "How's yours?" And not talking to me.
yeah,
And
same.
Ben's, same here.
Yeah, that was good. Can't give it to Ken this week. Is it Daniel feeling sorry for himself sitting alone in a pub in the bistro?
Is it Mal doing this from behind the cabin?
It's spooky. It's spooky. You got it.
You just switch off the eyes. That's what you do.
Yeah, you get the dead eyes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It makes me laugh, so it can't be boring.
Oh, boo. I'm just so sick of this.
All right, we'll give it to Mal. Mal is our boring moment of the week.
Boring moment of the week.
Now, I didn't remember to do the yeah mens this week because I was on Hollybobs and I promised myself not
You
to say
promised yourself
Hollybobs.
that you were never going to say Hollybobs again.
It slipped out. I won't do it again after that one.
And is it really Hollybobs when you're just sitting in the same home office that you're always sitting in?
Yeah, you don't have to do work. I did think about logging in, but I didn't bring my laptop home with me, so I couldn't.
Oh, well.
The stuff that I'm doing in Databricks at the moment is quite exciting.
You can't log in from your home?
Can't do that anymore.
Oh, interesting.
You need a corporate device.
Oh, interesting.
So, we don't have any guidance over who thought what about what. So we just have to give our own score out of 10 this week.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a decent week.
Yeah, I thought so too. It's 7.
7, yeah.
Yeah.
A good old 7 for me
Good
as well.
old 7.
All right.
You're
That's
going to
it.
make people on Twitter mad.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. This episode was brought to you with thanks. You know, I care because it means that my spreadsheet's going to have a gap in it.
Oh, God. I can't. You're not going to be able to tolerate that.
I might have to post something late. This episode is brought to you with thanks to our friends of the podcast: Daisy, French Helen, Pickles, DT, Wendy, Noel, Canadian Helen, Christy, Shandy, English Victoria, Aurora Yvonne, Heather Westerfield, Russell Whiting, Brittany Porter, Laurie Anna, Tina, Leah, Tara J, Fiona B, Canadian Jennifer, Josephine Tingy, Anne Greenwood, Trish R, Sarah Purbrick, Ali Q, Hunker Munker, Darren, the artist formerly known as Seal My Fridge, Pamela, Marge JT, Tom Ambrose, Christopher Anstey, Terran LA, Joe T, Corey Dales, Matthew McInerney, Welsh Emma, Matthew S, Rachel B, Uranium Jennifer, Catherine Monchero, Gary Heatley, Pam but not that one, Una, Amy, Jenny Roll, Aussie Ali,
Wait.
Chris Horrocks, Cameron from Edmonton, Matt Birch, Library Jen, Jack the Marner, and David MacArthur.
Whew.
Thank you ever so much, folks, for being friends of the podcast and for supporting us. We very much appreciate it. Don't we, Helen?
Yes, we do.
If you've ever masked your crippling depression by walking backwards in a pub, write in to tell us about it. We're the talkofthestreet@gmail.com and we're at Corrie Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads and Blue Sky. Or you can reach us the old-fashioned way, the Talk of the Street, P.O. Box 12, Eaton Rapids, Michigan, 48827. Our spoiler show will be available shortly after this one, and in this month's classics we're talking about episodes 2304 and 2305. Get access to this exclusive content by
Bet
becoming
and Betty in a lake.
a friend of the podcast. Find all the links at corriepodcast.com or in the description below, and be sure to check out our pop culture sister podcast, The List of Lists.
Something snarky about Titanic.
Thanks for making it to the end of another episode. We'll be back next week with more
I'll talk of the street.
The Talk of the Street, y'all.
Bye.
Cheerio.